Welcome into the Pigskin Preview presented by Prize Picks. It's week 8 of the college football season. Oh, that feels weird to say. But we have reached the third Saturday in October, Luckett, which, as tradition calls for, a Kentucky road trip to Gainesville. That's what everybody knows the third Saturday in October for.
Yeah, but I'm definitely looking forward to not being down there when it's not hot as Hades. So get to actually enjoy the outdoor press box down in the swamp. Nick, for me, in game in stadium, it's I think one of the more. It's in my top 5. In the league that I've been to, at bare minimum, I would say.
It's top 5 for our setting Saturday. It was bottom 1,000 when it was September 7th, I want to say, back in 2016, and 3:30 kickoff.
It's a trillion degrees.
Oh, hottest place on earth. And Kentucky just lost by 1,000 in Vernon Lundquist's final game, calling a UK game. And Jordan Jones was like fighting the fans. He was fighting his teammates. Kentucky lost by 1,000,000 points, and it was so hot. So it very much is weather dependent. Georgia, I'm very sad to see their old press boxes going because I really enjoy that. You're a little bit lower too. But for those who haven't been to Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, it is a walkout, like you walk in at the top of the bowl, which those stadiums are just cool.
Yeah. You feel like you're on the lower level, even if you're up top a little bit.
Yeah.
But you're sitting like this over top of people. And so it gets loud in there, and they got them jammed in like sardines. It's very much like the playing surface feels like you're upstairs, and it feels like you're upstairs, and they just cut a hole in the floor, and there's a football game going on in your basement. You're just sitting there watching it. But definitely, fun. That place rocks. In game, tailgating, but in game,
not great.
The place rocks.
Don't worry about gators and stuff like that. It's not all too good. We'll be heading down there this weekend, but we're not here to really spend a lot of time previewing the Cats and the Gators, which is a 7:45 SEC Network special. We're here to talk about all of the games on the slate, like the third Saturday in October. We're going to look at it's fun, man. It's been a good 2 weeks back to back. We should have more fireworks this weekend as well. Before we get into all of the nitty gritty, I did want to remind you that we are brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks, where they can help you get in on the action in states across the country where you check out the board. There's squares all over the place. You pick a player, go more or less, string a couple together, and win big with Prize Picks. Shout out to Ray Davis on Monday Night Football for coming through for the Prize Picks. He was awesome. And shout out to Prize Picks because here's the thing, they'll throw you a bone every once in a while. And for the next 7 days until the NBA season tips off, they've got a free Anthony Edwards square. So he just needs a point in his season opener for you to cash in. So that's a good way to add another square to up your odds whenever you're playing with Prize Picks. And when you use promo code KSR, you play $5, you're going to get $50 in your account just like that. That's promo code KSR, $5 in your account. Play it, you'll get $50 just like that. Terms apply. Visit prizepicks.com or download the app. It's very easy to use. All the sports are involved, so you could have your Ant Edwards with a little bit of Major League Baseball playoff action, with a little bit of college football, a little bit of NFL. It's the best. So check out Prize Picks today. I'm looking forward to watching a little Thursday night football once we make our way into the Jacksonville area. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Even they'll even have a little bit of action on the Tuesday, Wednesday night Cuse action, which I don't know if you saw this last night, Luckett, but on the Try Box for YouTube TV last night, 3 games had a combined 7 total wins among the 6 teams. Hey, not great football, but we'll take it. I looked at some of your selections, I looked at some of mine, and I hit on at least one of the big games. But we need to talk about Georgia, Texas, because I was very tempted to I'm in a bad spot right now, Luckett, so I'm just leaning into old reliables. And Kirby Smart unders in big games, that's an old reliable. But if they have a chance, I don't think they can sit on the ball, right? Like it just doesn't.
That's definitely one I consider that under there because you're right. But this is probably the worst defense he's had at Georgia.
Yeah, it's weird.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, arguably the worst defense he's had there. So that concerns you with that under.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at Kirby's record, like he's only been a dog very few times, but the record as a dog is not very good. So that's that's a fascinating game for a lot of reasons. Georgia, I kind of like Georgia because they are kind of backed into a corner, like they have to win that one.
Right.
Where Texas is coming off the big, beat your big rival. They're number one again. Everyone's talking about how good they are. So from that aspect, I think Georgia's probably the right side there, but it's hard for me to get there.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Where I trust Kirby Smart to get those guys ready to play that game, but I also just don't. I hate it. Sounds weird saying this. I don't think Georgia has as much talent as the team they're playing. Like
yeah, I think that's fair.
The receivers have been a little underwhelming to this point, and they don't have. There's just not like a go-to guy. Whereas Texas, they got a lot of different weapons, and that defensive line has been playing really well. We did at least see Carson Beck really turn it on. I know they couldn't stop Ryan Williams there at the end of the game, but maybe this is one of those games where Beck does go and actually win it for him. Where he's kind of played like this all year, and this is his big game. I'll probably feel frisky and just do a little money line sprinkle because, how many times am I getting Georgia as a dog like that? So maybe ride with the value there when I feel like both teams are pretty, I don't want to say even, but you wouldn't be surprised one way or another of the outcome of this game.
Yeah, I definitely think so, and definitely going to be a fun game to watch for those who can watch it. And the F1 race being at the same time, I'm sure they're going to talk about that nonstop on game day and during the game, but that's going to create quite the scene.
I don't get F1. I don't get it.
If you good time to have a bar, restaurant, or hotel in Austin, Texas, I would say.
You ain't kidding me.
Airbnb, whatever.
One game that we're not talking about that I think is kind of a big one. Indiana, 6.5-point favorite over to the Huskers.
I'm getting a little perturbed by this Indiana.
Yeah, like their stuff's got to run out eventually, right? Right?
Like, FIU, Western Illinois, at UCLA, Charlotte, Maryland, Nick, who just got housed by Northwestern, at Northwestern.
Yeah,
that's one of the softest power conference schedules you could ever have. Ever have. Even the non-con is bad. So they've played three of the worst power conference teams in college football this year. Now you got to give them credit; they're scoring a lot of points. But I'm fascinated to see these next. Now they still got Purdue, might be the worst on the schedule. But at Michigan State is not, Michigan State's pretty bad this year, but they've had quite the runway to start the season. They're taking advantage of what was a very bad schedule, and everyone knew it. So you got to give them credit, but that might be I might sprinkle just Nebraska because they just haven't played. They haven't played nobody, Paul, but
no, but you can.
There's a lot of crowning Coach Sig right now.
Yeah.
And let's just see the season play out. We're really going to see. But again, like I've talked about this, in this playoff era, the schedule is everything. It really is everything, especially with 9 games, no divisions. You're going to get some wonky schedules. And Indiana has gotten a gift from the Big Ten with this schedule, and they've taken advantage of this point. We'll see if they can continue to take advantage. And Nick, it looks like they only play 4 road games as well, so everything is coming together for them.
Speaking of Nebraska, I just wanted to put everybody on Jeff Sims alert. We get to watch him turn the ball over on, is that Friday? No, that's a Saturday nooner. Yeah, Arizona State is at Cincinnati, and they got to play Jeff Sims at quarterback for the Fighting Kenny Dillinghams. You want to talk about I hope Scattaboo is on Prize Picks because just more. Whatever his rushing attempts are, more. Just that he's going to get 40 carries, just like Jeff Sims. Just turn around, give the ball to that guy. Don't lose this game for us. That's you want to talk about a weird conference realignment game. Arizona State at Cincinnati. Ugh.
As long as that line movement doesn't get crazy, expect to see that game in the column.
Oh, not on our preview tonight. They're also, I wanted to mention, actually, you've got that game. So we'll just get right into our picks where I'm just going to go and say it off the top. I stink. I think I've had 2 Saturdays where I haven't won a game. And like I share 3 picks here. There's always more. They all lost last Saturday, including a brutal taking Pitt as the 3-point favorite and winning by 2. I mean, it sucks. It's been bad. So I'm going to do like at the classic fade yourself here. And what I mean by that is that I saw the line was Tennessee, Alabama, the total's at 56.5 in the third Saturday in October. We know my feelings about the Vols and their Messiah, Nico. They haven't scored 25 plus points in SEC play. He doesn't have a 200-yard game in SEC play. Under? No, I was locked in under, and that's why I'm fading myself. I'm going over. And the rationale for fading myself makes sense because, A, the Alabama defense is just bad. I think we can say that. The Alabama defense is bad. The way South Carolina was able to move the ball against them, partially because of Jalen Milroe's ability to turn the ball over. James Pierce, he's going to be all over him. And even if they don't get home, he'll make some plays that should turn into some points. And then the other part of this, too, is I just went and got like the Tennessee mob to attack me on social media. So like it's going to be my ass when Nico goes out there and puts up 30 on Saturday. I can feel it coming in my bones. So give me the over in this game. They just got to get into the upper 20s for both of them. That's kind of the games that Alabama's been playing because their defenses it's just not good. Which so weird to be here and you're saying out loud in the middle of October. Yeah, I don't think Georgia and Alabama have a very good defense.
You're either going to feel like a genius or a total idiot here.
Yeah, it's one of the There's
no
in between.
God, I think the part missing in your analysis is that Tennessee has a top 10 defense. So, we just saw what we've seen for a half how good Alabama can be on offense, but we also saw that second half against Georgia where they really just had a prayer to Ryan Williams. They did some really good things against Vanderbilt, but they also had 2 turnovers that were the reason they lost the game. And then last week it wasn't good. They went long stretches without doing much against South Carolina. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's a guarantee that they're just going to hum against Tennessee's defense.
See, and that's my analysis is that I like the under because of Tennessee's defense. And so I'm fading myself. You gotta get something to get out of the funk. I'm wearing a yellow duck hat, whatever we got to do to get some winners. Luckett, what are you going to do to get us a winner here on the Pigskin Preview presented by Prospects?
Michigan at Illinois. I think this is a trophy game. I don't know the trophy, but I'm going to lay the field goal with the Wolverines. Illinois, we talked about them, how good they've been as a road dog, but they've not been a good home team under Brett Bielema. I believe they're like 4-12. ATS is a road favorite, and then also have a losing record. ATS is a road dog. Michigan has been really good as a road favorite in recent years. Now this is a totally different team. But off the bye week, they already have 2 losses. I think this is a big spot for Sherrone Moore's team. They've had extra time to prepare. Illinois' run defense is iffy. Michigan wants to run the football. So I like the Wolverines in this spot, so I'm going to lay the small price with Michigan.
In shocking breaking news, Luckett, this is one Michigan Big Ten game that does not have a trophy on the line. Shocking.
I'll be damned.
Yeah. I did learn there's something called a George Jewett trophy for the Northwestern rivalry. Big rivalry between Northwestern and Michigan. How many times do you think Northwestern has beaten Michigan in the sport of football?
Well, they did that one year, and that was a big deal, like in the 90s when they had like a spread offense, and I think they snapped a long losing streak. I would say, I don't know. They don't play every year. They've been in a conference for a long time. Let's say 13.
15 times.
That was close.
Yeah, very close. This is so a lot of these trophies in the Big Ten are very old. The George Jewett Trophy, it is only 3 years old in 2021. 2021. He was the first African-American college football player at both schools and in the Big Ten Conference. Well, now I'm fascinated by George Jewett. He played for both schools in the pre-portal era. That's good on him. This was in 1892. I guess a little bit different than some of a little bit more progressive in the North and in the South when it came to integrating football. So shout out George Jewett. Playing for both teams. He was an All-American, or no, he was good for Michigan, then transferred to Northwestern. He scored Northwestern's only touchdown against Michigan in 1893. So, boom, we're learning more here on the Pigskin Preview. I'm going to get you learned here. And when in doubt, go back to old reliable Iowa. We got to bet the Hawks when you're in trouble. But you can't bet the under. You can't bet the under. Even though I looked at that total, I worry that they could get the 40.5 by themselves against Michigan State, because Michigan State's not a good football team. They're not particularly good offensively. I don't think they couldn't score 20 points on Boston College, right? Like, and I know Michigan State, their Big Ten games are Oregon and Michigan, maybe? Was that the other? They played good teams for the most.
They haven't played. They play Michigan next week.
It was another decent.
They lost to Boston College on the road
here recently. Only scored 20 points in that game.
I'm trying to think what their other. They played Ohio State at home. That was it.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. So it's hard to gauge from Big Ten, but in a similar spot, Iowa was a short favorite against Minnesota, and they smoked them 31-14. Wasn't really in question. Iowa has been 5-1 against the over. I don't trust the Michigan State defense to be able to score enough to get there. So Iowa's going to win this football game. So give me Iowa to win by a touchdown on the road at Michigan State.
Nick, I'll read you off Iowa's schedule. They are 4-2, 2-1 Big Ten play. They just smoked Washington. They had like 290 yards of offense. At Michigan State, home against Northwestern, home against Wisconsin, at UCLA, at Maryland, home against Nebraska.
I mean, really, the Wisconsin game might be the trickiest of the bunch, just because they're finally starting to score up in Madison.
They've looked good the last 2 weeks. The last week was impressive, but Iowa running the table is not out of the picture here, and firmly being in that playoff conversation.
You had a trend, too, on KS Board, which if you aren't there, it's popping right now. UK1 will get you 2 months of KSR Plus for $1. I believe Iowa's 7-2 as a road favorite in its last 9.
Yeah. Since the COVID season, they're 7-2 ATS when they're laying points on the road, and blew out with Minnesota earlier this year.
Let's go get it. Hawkeyes, take me home, country roads. Luckett, who's your second selection?
Yeah, we're going down to SEC country. LSU coming off the big win against Ole Miss in a huge spot. Now it's got to go and face Arkansas. Battle for the boot. Arkansas's catching points here at home. Give me the Hogs. +3. Again, Sam Pittman is awesome as a dog. 21-8-1 ATS in his career. Arkansas 7-1-1 ATS as the dog in their last 8 versus ranked opponents. LSU 2-5 against the spread as a road favorite under Brian Kelly. Like the spot for Arkansas. Don't like the spot for LSU. After the emotional game, LSU was a little bit fortunate, I think, to win that Ole Miss football game. Arkansas can run the football. LSU struggles to stop the run. So I like how this game sets up for the Hogs. So give me Arkansas, who's really played, I think, well, pretty much all season. And, you look back at that A&M game. That A&M game even looks more impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so I like what's going on down there in Fayetteville. Give me the Hogs plus the points.
I know Taylon Green was banged up, but the latest is that he's trending towards playing.
Yeah.
If there's a setback, obviously you got to material change, got to course correct here, but that's big.
Yeah, and on the QB injury front, Georgia Tech plus 12 or plus 11 would have been here on this, but Haynes King is hurt, and they're pretty mum on his status for Saturday. So that's one to watch. If I get any inclination that he's going to play, I'm going to play Georgia Tech. But
what was the bad beat that happened with him over the weekend? I heard SVP and Stanford Steve, they like alluded to it, but I didn't actually see what happened. It sounded like it was just an abomination, but I didn't actually get to see what happened in that game.
Yeah, I didn't see it. So
well, there you go. Go watch Bad Beats after you're done watching us. They're pretty good at their jobs. Their most recent podcast, Stanford Steve just did it from a airport bar at like 1 a.m. in San Francisco, which I'm pro doing podcasts at a bar as long as the audio is good. So maybe we do more podcasts in bars. Maybe here's another thing too. If you see us down in the swamp, I've got some KSR Plus promos and some KRC koozies I'm gonna be handed out. So there you go. Come see us at the catwalk. Keep your drinks cold and your message board intel half off. For my final selection, I admittedly went back to like a weird well, and I don't really know how I got here to this point, Luckett, other than Clemson's been really good at covering as of late, and they've been scoring a lot of points. I think Vegas has been overvaluing them. They're 3 straight unders, and they've been scoring a ton of points. So I think this total got goosed up against UVA, who's been playing under. They're one of the slowest tempo teams in college football. And here's the other part too, like I think Clemson would like to get into, like they don't mind getting into a rock fight. Dabo doesn't mind playing that hard-nosed slobber knocker sort of football. And UVA's scrappy. They aren't very good. Their offense probably isn't going to score many points against this Clemson defense. 100th in EPA, 94th in offensive success rate. So I'm going to say Clemson, Virginia under 57.5. I don't love it, but I also saw this graph this week, Luckett. It was a flow chart of like tempo versus offensive efficiency, and Virginia was just at the bottom. So I'm just going to play an under that they're in. That's part of the math right there. So if it's 40-14, I get home, and I would, I could be happy with that. Give me that.
Yeah, and if this gets out of hand, Dabo's not going to run up. He's not going to want to run up the score against Tony Elliott, and so it's really just how many points do you think Virginia can score?
100th in EPA, 97th success rate.
Clemson has been getting to 40 consistently. It feels like. Right? Let's see here. 59, 40, 29 against Florida State, 49. So they're going to get probably 38.
Mm-hmm.
So you need under 21. If you get Virginia at 17, you're probably going to feel pretty good.
Yeah.
And so that's really if that holds, that under should be fine.
It doesn't make any sense, and that's the theme of this week's picks for one young Nick Roush who's trying to get off the schneid. Reminder, too, if you're traveling to Florida, no online wagering in your typical wagering apps.
Hard Rock. But, yeah, if you want to wager down there, you got to use the Hard Rock app. You can. Yeah. You just can't do it on the more traditional
typical ones. Yeah, you got to go through the Native American reservation stuff.
You have to go through the tribe. That's right.
Yep, exactly. Luckett, who is your third and final lock of the week?
Yeah, Big 12. Similar to kind of my last play, Nick, Kansas State at West Virginia. I'm going to take Mountaineers +3. Kansas State is coming off a really emotional win at Colorado. In a really game, I mean, there were receivers woofing at Deion's entourage over there on the sideline. Meanwhile, West Virginia lost a game that they easily could have won, I think, against Iowa State last week. They need a win at home. They've already got a couple home losses when you look at Penn State, Iowa State. They need a win at home to kind of stay in this Big 12 race.
Sounds familiar.
So I like this spot for Neil Brown's team. So give me the West Virginia Mountaineers +3. I'll probably play this money line.
if this is the week that you know what, I'm going to have to bet it too, because I cannot keep betting West Virginia as a home dog and coming up empty-handed. So I just got to keep hitting it, right? They're 0-2 so far.
This is my first time on it. This is my first time. I feel
I'm
like
just
this is
going
the
to keep
best time.
slapping the bag, which look at Mizzou is offering happy hour $3 beers at Faurot Field before kickoff, 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. happy hour. How many $3 beers can you get at 9:30 a.m. between 9:30 a.m. and 10:30 a.m.?
How much of a discount do you think that is at Faurot Field? $4 off? $5 off?
Probably 5. I would say they're $8 beers. Now these are drafts only in like one section, so I'm sure the lines will be crazy. But yeah, how many draft beers at 9:30 a.m. before a college football Saturday?
Oh, it's a big game. Like they're getting Auburn at home, so you're going to be
maybe juice
that.
Up.
Younger Adam could do a few.
I think 4 is probably the baseline.
All of this is it's atmosphere driven. Like I talk about the Grove. Like when you're at the Grove, it doesn't feel like a morning tailgate. Mm-hmm. But most other places I've been to, unless it's a big game, there is like cobwebs. So I would assume there's going to be cobwebs here in Columbia. My only 11 a.m. kick experience there was honestly the worst weather I've ever seen. I thought literally no one was going to be able to pass the ball or punt, so it was just going to be a game riddled with mistake, but the wind did slow down. So yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Missouri, they had some fans out there, but I wouldn't say it was the most lively bunch for a noon kickoff when I was out there. But weather had a lot to do with that. So I don't know. But I give them credit for trying something different. At least getting people in the stands and in the facility.
It's in the end zone by the giant concrete M's. So yeah, I appreciate him trying. It's also you get your $4 beers and then you got 30 more minutes to kickoff. So yeah, I guess they're just trying to get everybody in the stadium a little early. That's the motivation I would use. I have admittedly fallen for a cheaper beer promotion before, and you know what? I'll drink them up. You know me. Can't turn away a good deal. And here's the thing too. Wait, I can't say that out loud. Nix that. That's an off-air conversation. Don't want them to start changing policies at Churchill Downs. Then we'll can't let $2 beers go away. Is there any other games that maybe caught your eye this weekend? Looking forward to watching. Anything we might have missed?
Let's talk about this line movement in Kentucky, Florida.
I mean, because Kentucky's going to win.
Kentucky was the early line. Kentucky was a favorite this time last week, 2.5. Flip the other side to 2.5, and it's gotten bumped. It's even up to 1.5 now. It keeps moving.
The crazy movements, just you can tell Vegas is like, let's get it 50-50. They don't feel strongly about either team because they're both pretty damn unpredictable.
Yeah, Kentucky, again, the fascinating numbers with Kentucky for me, Nick, are these team totals. 21.5 is the team total for Kentucky.
21.5? They haven't done that yet. They haven't done it.
Yeah.
Just under, I don't know.
I mean, you could do an alternate total here. We're really getting to the nitty gritty.
I would have thought that, like, if you take out the Vegas stuff, I really do think that
you could do under 17.5 for Kentucky for plus 146.
And what's weird too is Florida's defense was a sieve, and they've been better as of late too. So these teams are very unpredictable. And then you throw in the true freshman starting at quarterback. That part I think adds as much of a wrinkle to anything as to why Vegas is letting this line kind of go wherever the bettors will take it, because Mertz, you really knew what you were going to get, and it was steady Eddie. Whereas in this case, you kind of just roll the dice, One thing about Billy Napier, man, the conversation, he is not doing anything to temper expectations. There's nothing he can't do. He just steps up for big moments and he delivers, they're not pumping the brakes on any of the DJ Lagway hype whatsoever down there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they should. that's what's going to get him another year. Is a good run here by Lagway. So Florida's offense, like I do think, like Florida was going to be my pick to win the game if Mertz was healthy, but he's not. And I'm leaning towards picking Kentucky. So I think with Lagway, he's just more turnover prone, and that's what's going to win this game. That's really what this game is going to come down to be. Like, who makes the big mistake? I think it'll probably, turnover-wise, I think Florida is more likely to do that, and I think that's what will ultimately potentially win Kentucky a low-scoring just slugfest. But that's kind of how I see that playing out.
The turnovers is the one reason why I'm a little like, ooh, maybe they somehow oddly do get to 42, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Kentucky's number 2 in havoc rate, and Florida's sub 100 in havoc rate allowed on offense. Eventually, Nick, we're going to get like a 3-turnover game from this Kentucky defense, and they might score a touchdown on one of them.
The at Tennessee game, the Jarrett Garantano kind of repeat performance.
I just think eventually you're going to get that big takeaway game from them. It hasn't happened yet, but I think that's coming eventually. I don't know when it's going to arrive, but I definitely think that's coming down the chimney at some point. And this could be this feels like this game has higher odds of that happening because I think, Lagway, Nick, he's got, I think, 6 fumbles or interceptions in 177 snaps. That's, I think, concerning. In Florida, as an offense, they haven't been the most secure with the football. So that's something to keep an eye on.
We'll be keeping an eye on it?
Yeah, South Carolina, Oklahoma, fascinating.
Man,
Big Ten total, 40.
They can't make that total low enough. What's Oklahoma's team total there? Like 6?
6.
God, they're terrible. I mean, that is at least. Yes, Kentucky's offense is bad. Oklahoma's is incompetent in so many levels, and they thought they were going to be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also they gave them the Jefferson Pilot window, which is perfect. Oklahoma team total's 20.5.
Under. Oh, I guess they just split it even for both of them there, but. Whew.
Miami Louisville will be a fun game to watch at noon. Like, I'm kind of excited to see that because it's going to be explosive plays and turnovers. Really, the whole game. Let's see what the team total, 27.5 for Louisville, 33.5 for Miami. Good Lord, that's a high total.
Yeah, well, you've seen our English defenses. 61 doesn't feel like too crazy to get over there.
That's going to be a fun track meet.
I did the Oregon laying 27.5. Or given 27.5 at Purdue. I know the going across the country and all that, but Purdue stormed all the way back only to lose in overtime. How they can't have anything left in the tank, right? It's emptying the tank off because Oregon just had that emotional win at home.
Ball State, yes, but just how bad is Purdue? Availability report. Where's Diego Pavia at? Nick, when I went back and watched that game, it's honestly more frustrating. Like, he could not move there in the last quarter with that injury he had on the fumble. So that honestly made it more frustrating. So where is he at? Like, they're laying almost 4 touchdowns right now. If he's not good to go and they have to play the backup, that's Ball State is terrible on defense, but they can actually move the ball some on offense. So that could be one to watch. I don't think Vandy's going to lose, but that's a lot of points. It's specifically if Pavia is not good to go. And that's really all I have. Cam Rising is out again.
No, must be another Saturday in the fall.
Missouri Auburn's like a big game for both sides. I know we kind of talked about that earlier, but that's a really important game for both teams. And that's about it. That's about all I got.
Well, we're looking forward to watching them all. We'll be down in the Sunshine State this weekend. Hope to see you down there to hopefully watch the Cats bring home a win. If not, you're back home, you're watching TVs. Let's pick some winners. Got to get off the snot. It's been tough sledding for old Roush this football season. We're going to get it back. We're going to get it right. We're going to get it tight. He's Adam Luckett. I'm Nick Roush. Go Cats and go Kroger.